Paula.
All right, everybody. Hello and welcome to my EdTech Live. Welcome. And I'm excited for you guys to be here today. This is our second show this coming Saturday, or actually this Saturday. I'm sorry, guys. It's just been one of those days, but I'm excited to have some amazing guests here today. You saw the Edugals this morning. Today, we have some wonderful authors that are here. They just recently released a book called Scripted. So I have the pleasure of introducing you to Mr. Bruce Reicher. And I have Miss Paula Neidlinger here today, who are co-authors, and we are missing our third author, Mr. Randy. I know he couldn't make it, but I know he's doing some family things. So hopefully next time we can get you on the show as well, just so everybody can go ahead and meet this wonderful trio of media enthusiasts, media creators, and it's just an amazing show. So teachers, staff members, everybody, it doesn't matter what position you hold. If you are interested in media creation, you have come to the right place, because Scripted is the book. It is your recipe guide for media creation. So Bruce, Paula, thank you for being on the show today. I'm very excited for you guys to be here.
Thank you for having us today. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. We can't wait to talk about the book and technology with you today and try to give people as many tips as we can, especially with the school year. I know some people have started already, and some people are going to be starting very soon, the 2021 school year.
Exactly. So that's something that is great, because as far as what we're looking at with remote learning, content creation, media creation is going to be something that's going to be very big. And I know, Bruce, you were on one of our previous shows, and that's exactly what we talked about. And, you know, we kind of just talked about it just very briefly and just the possibilities. But now teachers, through your book that you guys have written, have an actual guide that they can use and that they can go ahead and mix in with their own personal twist and everything, and just use it for content creation. So this is something that is very excited, and it couldn't have come at a better time. I know we're going through some difficult times since March, and with school closures, and now with plans of reopening, just a lot of kind of anxieties that are happening. Teachers are, what am I going to do? I don't have this experience, but having something like this can be great. And I'm really glad that you guys are here to share this. So first of all, before we get into the book and in the content creation, you know, since I haven't met Paula yet, and Bruce, I know, you know, you've been doing the rounds too through a lot of podcasts and everything. Go ahead and just tell us a little bit. How did you, how did all three of you meet? Can you tell us a little story about that?
Sure, yeah. Bruce and I actually met through social media. We are both media teachers in the middle school level. And at that time, Bruce just, I think, happened to see a tweet. Was that correct? Just from me. And saw that, oh my gosh, there's another middle school person that has a TV station and a radio station. And that's kind of how we connected. And Randy, I was presenting at a conference in Indiana. Randy happened to be in my group, and I was doing radio, and so he got in touch with me, and before you know it, all three of us were communicating through social media for the most part, and from there we've been friends and, you know, co-teachers, co-authors for about the last 5-6 years now. So
oh, wow, that's great. And so, I mean, for everybody who's listening, the power of social media and building up your professional learning network, or like I like to call it, your PLF, professional learning family, because now this group seems to have been sort of now made into a family, because now you've all co-authored a book, and that's something that's great. Bruce, tell us a little bit more about some of the projects that, how you and Paula met, and some of the projects that you collaborated on.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I remember the first time I saw that tweet too, because I see a middle school teacher who has a TV studio like I do. Like, I definitely want to meet the person. And then I start seeing she has a radio station. She does movies. She has a movie night. The kids make a website. They do PR. They started a TV station. They had no funding. So they went into the town and they did commercials for all these local businesses that help fund their TV studio. I'm like, that's somebody that I need to know like right away. So I, connected with Paula on Twitter, and then we started direct messaging each other. And before you know it, her station and my TV station, the kids communicated through doing Zooms or Google Meets. We looked at each other's scripts in Google Docs, which worked really well in real time, even Indiana to New Jersey. And eventually we shared content with each other, and, our kids were on each other's shows. And it was really, remarkable that it was easy enough to do, just to hop on the computer and have the kids communicate. And some of the kids still, have friendships that go on now. And then, of course, our friendship, has kept going. And, that's how we met to do the book. And one back to school tip I would give people is get on Twitter. If you're not on Twitter, get on. And then everyone lurks in the beginning. You read a lot of things that are there. And even if you don't want to post anything, if you find someone in your curriculum area that is posting awesome stuff, send them this DM direct message. And I almost guarantee you that anybody you send a direct message to, they will write back to you, and it becomes like a personal, conversation. And I don't think enough people take advantage of that, because they think if I DM this person, they don't know who I am. I don't know if they're going to send me back a message. And I'm here to say, 99% of the time, they will message you back, maybe not right away. But I think that's an underrated tool that a lot of people, educators, don't use sometimes.
Mm-hmm. And I think that I really enjoyed what you're saying as far as making that connection. And now, prior to this, pedagogy has changed, or practice has changed, where, we're no longer in, just regular brick and mortar schools, but now we're doing stuff remotely. But even before that, I love the story, the way that you shared how you and Paula were still working remotely, collaborating through some of the G Suite tools that you were using. And then the students were collaborating and working with one another. And that's something that is amazing, how you've made that connection with somebody else in a different state, and you're providing that experience for your students, and now even paying off where you guys ended up meeting, and how Bruce was also stating, professional learning networks, get on Twitter, send that DM, and you'd be surprised, and that's a similar story to how I met Bruce as well. Bruce and I had been following Bruce for a while, never had a chance to actually meet him in real life, but then I ended up meeting him virtually through Global GEG staff rooms, and then we've just hit it off and made that connection. And he's been on the show now, it's his second time, and now with Paula here. Now I got introduced to Paula. So it's just a great family, a great network, and it really is just a tech PD 24/7 party every time. So, definitely get on Twitter. I definitely recommend that. All right, guys. So let's talk a little bit more about, before we get into the book and things of that sort, just the overall, just media creation, content creation. How does that work, or what are some of the things that you would recommend, especially to teachers, that are moving now into this virtual field, these virtual classrooms? How do they start? What would be some of your best advice?
Go ahead, Paula. Ladies first.
Oh, thank you. I think right now, one of the things that I think we're maybe running into a little bit is, I think, to keep the focus that media is still the tool. All right. It shouldn't drive everything that you do. And just maybe start small, find one or two things that really work for both you as the teacher and for the student, and perfect those. Don't get caught up in the trap that you have to try everything that's out there, because some people are naturally, they can balance and do a number of things at one time. And some people really, as far as when it comes to media, maybe have limited experience or even resources. All of us are different in that way too. So I think start small, use what you have, learn how to use them, and make sure that you can model them appropriately with your students.
Yeah, and I would concur definitely with Paula, and use what you have is use the tools that you and the students have. So if you're in remote learning, I did this last year, that we've used WeVideo exclusively, for the show, because the kids have Chromebooks. That's the only editing that works on there, and it works well. But I knew last year when I went to remote, even though the kids had their Chromebooks, start giving them more choices of other projects they could do. And I was encouraging them, use your phone, which they never use their phones in middle school. They, they're put away and they're not seeing. I'm like, use your phone. And then on the phone, there's great apps like Clips for iPhones, for iOS. There's another app called Quick, Q-U-I-K, that goes with, it's GoPro software, but it's free. And I opened it up and said, use whatever software you want to use. Here's what the topics are for my particular class. And it doesn't matter to me what you're using to make a public service announcement about the pandemic. Just come up, write something clever, and use any tool that you want. And I really saw the creativity go through the roof, that not only would we video things, but now I started to get things handed in that were done on applications that, which Fonz is incredible, which I didn't teach them anything. I just gave them the choice to say, if you want to use another software program, that's totally fine. Just in the end, either email it to me or get it to me in Google Classroom, and that will suffice. And I really got richer projects that way, instead of keeping the students in one tool, to say you could use any media tool you want. And it could be a podcast, it could be a multimedia slideshow, it could be a wee video, instead of telling every single student to do the same topic and use the same software.
And I think that's something that's great as far as, what Paula said. Number one, keeping it simple, using what you have, leverage what you have. And I think oftentimes we present educators with certain tools that may help, but they are options to what they already do. But sometimes it's like, I don't know, they just feel like they need to do everything and use all of them. But again, I think it's just as keeping it simple. And even if it's, still, having a little whiteboard and doing some math or doing all of that, that will still just work, because I think it's just about getting the content to the students. So what Paula was saying is just keeping it simple, using what you have. And one of the things too that Paula states is, knowing how to use it, and then that way you can model. But I also like what you said, Bruce, that, if you have those students that, and for a lot of, for most of the time, a lot of the students can really catch on tech real quick. And with their cell phones, they already have apps that they may already be using. And so when you're giving them choice, they can definitely go out above and beyond, as long as you're meeting what's in your rubric. And like you said, I believe those projects definitely would show how, content rich, and just really take it to that other level and giving it their personal touch. So that's something that's great there too as well. So,
and the terrific piece that plays into, along with giving them choices, they have to feel great. I mean, they're not only given choice, but now they're creating something that maybe wasn't even on, the original software that they could use. And I think that really gives them the ownership and the voice of what they're creating, rather than conform to all 30 students in the class, that every single person has to hand in the same thing with the same software. And I think it kind of opens up the creativity to them. And I think with teachers, we want to keep it simple, and I keep it simple myself. But a lot of times I think for the students, it's good to keep it simple, but also if they know some of these other tools, they know Sony Vegas or Vega, whatever it is. I've never touched it at all. I've never even used it. I know it's video editing software. I had a student who used it last year. I'm like, go for it. I don't know how you create all those effects and all those things, but if you have a good plan and you wrote a good storyboard for it, and whatever was in my rubric, then it doesn't really matter to me the tool that they're using, as long as my curriculum was driving the project.
There you go. That's great. I love all those ideas. And I mean, especially right now, I mean, just a lot of the anxiousness that teachers are feeling, and a lot of them are scared. This is new territory for them, even though they did get, somewhat of a preview of what was coming this year. But with so much information that is out there, and, so many tools that are out there, it could be very overwhelming. So I think that what you guys have here with your book, like I said, it just couldn't have come at a better time. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the book here and just the idea behind it. So I think we already kind of talked a little bit about it, but if you can just expound a little bit more as far as, first of all, just, how did this project come to fruition? Go ahead and let us know about that.
Okay. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Sure.
ladies
Go
first.
ahead, Paula.
Paula, you're the one who
Okay.
started the book anyway, so you go first.
Okay. All right. Well, this is a picture of the book. We, I think we started this because for those of us in middle school, especially, at least in Indiana, there is specifically not media standards per se. And so we all created our own curriculum from scratch, kind of grasping at the standards that we could pull from English, journalism, etc. And we talked about, we all do some really cool things. I learned from Bruce, Bruce learned from Randy, vice versa. And we would always be going, wow, that's a great idea. Wow, that's a great idea. And so it was like, we should really just put a book out there that is more of, if you are starting and you don't know where to start, here's what we did. And even if you already have a program, we've made it in a way that it's like, here's some ideas you can build with what you have, or if you have nothing, here's where you start. And we've that was kind of our platform, and we wrote it for about a year and a half, and edited several times. And I think what we came up with is that type of a book that is really for anyone at any stage.
Yeah, and I know our conversation in the beginning, I remember it so well, Fonz, is we couldn't find a book. Like, we looked high and low, and the books we found on, media production and video production, they were from 2005 and 2010. And in technology, as we know, that's light years ago. I mean, once something comes out new, it's obsolete the next day. That, if something is 1 or 2 years old, it's very old. So when we looked at some of these things, and a lot were for college, textbooks, and they weren't recent, they weren't really recent materials. And that was where part of the idea came from. And then, as Paula said, I think the three of us had energy and synergy just to say, you know what, let's just write it ourselves. And I'm really proud of that. We didn't interview one person for the book. Like the three of us, this is all our firsthand work, tips and tricks that we did with students of, things that do work. And we really didn't crowdsource anything in the book to go visit schools and find out what they're doing. Frankly, we have the schools coming to visit us, like to see what was going on in our TV studio or radio station or movie night. And we really made the book for everybody, K through 12, and just start at where you're at. And I think an important part of the book as it evolved is you don't need money to start. Start with what you have. If you have Chromebooks, iPads, if you only have phones and that's it, if it has a microphone and it has a camera, just start there and start small and build it out. And I think when some people think of, I'm making a media creation program, well, what do I need? $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 to start? And I would say you need about a $150 Chromebook, maybe. As long as it has a microphone and a camera and you bring your creativity to it, whatever the students are going to create is going to be fantastic. They're going to enjoy doing it. And it does lead to a higher understanding of whatever material in any curriculum. If they can create something from scratch, a product that has audio and video in it, it's very powerful.
Oh, and I agree with you, especially, when you talk about creation, and I love that, and because it's very important. It's part of the process of learning where you're allowing the students to firsthand experience, create from scratch, get those ideas, start building up, edit, go back and change. It really does build up a lot of skills that are cross-curricular, like you're saying. And, I think that also just the fact that you're giving them the opportunity. And traditional setting, we have to finish our curriculum by a certain time, so there may not be a lot of that extra or additional time that teachers may say, like, oh, this is just going to be extra time that I'm going to be spending on this. But they can embed so much in there within their curriculum that at the end you're really sharing a portfolio of all the learning that they're doing, and then you're getting a learning artifact and stating, wow, this is where the child's comprehension level is from start to finish. And it's really great because it's really just a video journal, you're taking into account just the progress that they're making. And I love, like you said, all those tips, just keeping it simple. And, you know, a lot of districts are one-to-one, you know, either with Chromebooks or another sort of device, and they all come equipped with a camera and a microphone. And even if it's just recording your audio voice or, you know, narrating over, you know, a Google slide or other sort of presentation software, you know, that definitely serves a purpose. And just like you said, just starting simple, and eventually those projects can branch out, and the teacher doesn't have to be the know-it-all expert. It's just put the tools in their hand, show them a little bit, and then let the students be the creators. So that's great. That's wonderful.
And we get the question a lot, like, I don't know anything about technology. Where do I start? And I think the three of us would say, start with your curriculum first. Do what you normally do, what you normally teach in the classroom, and just have them as extra choices that the kids could choose. So do you want to write a paper about something? Do you want to do a slideshow? Or do you want to make a video about it? You know, so it's not 100% that you have to go away from what's in the teacher's toolbox to begin with, but just add on slowly. And I really think the students are an underrated tool and gem that are out there, that if they're given the choice, not all of them would pick it. You're going to have all different types of learners in your classroom, but I think a lot of them will pick and choose it, and they're not going to be reliant on the teacher. You know where they're going to go for most of their answers, and that's YouTube. They're going to go and go to YouTube to figure out how things work. And I know that's what Paula, Randy, and I also do when we got, you know, new hardware and software in. You know, we were going to YouTube to figure things out, just like the kids do.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's what I think that, you know, I love about this. I gave a presentation, I think it was last year in October, actually a year ago, and we were just talking about, you know, Screencastify. And one of the things that I did is I got some IKEA instructions in PDF, and, you know, IKEA instructions are very ominous and very scary, you know, as you're following them. But, you know, for somebody who's just a visual learner and can really see that, you know, it makes perfect sense. But then I also shared how to build the same cabinet, and somebody had it on YouTube. And then I was like, check this out, like the difference. I mean, you've got learners that can follow the structure and follow the instructions, but then you've got the visual learners that I want to see how somebody else is doing it, and the ability that they have to pause and play and rewind. I tell the teachers, this is an added benefit for the student, because as teachers, if you're creating content for them to learn, you know, when's the last time that a student can pause and play a teacher live? I mean, if you pause and play a teacher live, they're going to be kind of like, oh no, I got to keep going. And they may not like that. But here, when you're creating those videos, the child can go in and say, okay, let me see, I kind of missed that little part, pause, rewind, I can fast forward and do those things. And it serves as a wonderful resource. So I definitely am a big fan of content creation. And even now creating tutorials for teachers as well. I've got, you know, I use a program called IORAD, which has a little bit of video, but then it just records all the steps. So I have my visual learners that can follow all the instructions click by click, or it'll also print out as a PDF if they just want to see everything in list view. And so that's something that's great there too as well. So a lot of great options, not only for students and teachers. So that's something wonderful. And I love going back to those tips that you're saying. Sorry, Bruce.
No, it's okay.
Start with the curriculum. Starting with the curriculum and layer on that, it's golden.
What I was going to add to that, of saying, like Paula was saying, keep it simple and know what you know and use what you have, is even a simple thing. Like if you're using Google Meet or you're using Zoom or whatever product you're using, if it can record, which most of them can record, when I do lessons now, I was pre-recording things like crazy in the beginning of March and April and spending a lot of time doing that content creation. And then I had an aha moment saying, just record it in Zoom. I'm sharing my screen anyway. I'm going through my 10-minute mini lesson on video production coding or whatever I may be teaching. And I'm actually able to record in a Zoom session, download it, trim it out with QuickTime, the beginning and the end where the students are. Within 5 minutes, I have the video right up in Google Classroom for asynchronous learners. And my point is, you don't have to go learn Zoom or go learn Google Meet. It might be a tool that you use every single day. And it might be, you know, as simple as hitting record. And one other one that I heard recently, I haven't done this, but I have to try this, is take your slideshow, and if you're on a MacBook or you're on anything but a Chromebook, make your slideshow your permanent background. And now you'll become a picture-in-picture, and you can describe to students and they could see you. have that feel. And it's as simple as just taking your PowerPoint or slideshow and just having it as the background. And you're clicking through the background as you're explaining to them what you're showing them. You record it, and you have a really quick and neat screencast that's done. And you're doing it basically live to tape and live to record it, and then upload it and share it.
Yeah, and like I said, those are great ideas. Paula, anything that you'd like to add to that?
Well, do you want me to talk about something different, or?
Well, actually, no. Well, what we can do is, Paula, let's go ahead and transition to this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, and I'm going to share. I did share out the website info here. So now, Paula, this is what you're working on, right? This is part of your project, the website?
Oh, yes. I do the website. Yes.
Excellent. Can you tell us a little bit of what all our viewers and our educators can find here through the website?
Right now, keeping it simple, right here at the beginning on the front page is just an intro to the book. And if you scroll down where you can purchase the book, if you are ordering, for instance, for maybe your staff or several people in your department, you can buy them by bulk through EduMatch, who is our publisher to begin with. They're available on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles as well. Barnes and Noble, sorry. Down at the bottom, we have our calendar. So you can click there and then see the different podcasts that we're coming up on. So then back up at the beginning, if you go up to the tabs and go to resources. We have 3 partners, Backbone Network, which is Backbone Radio Network, WeVideo, and Wakelet. And all 3 of these companies have written a portion of our book. They are in one chapter for our software, so they are our partners. Backbone Radio is what Randy and I use for our radio. We have internet radio, which is radio in the cloud, basically. And Backbone has partnered up with us, and they are now offering kind of a special package for any K through 12 school that wants to now get started with radio in their school. So that's been a great asset. They're a great company. WeVideo, all 3 of us use WeVideo for our video editing. So we have a teacher tab there, kind of a hub that they're providing. And then Wakelet. Wakelet is a curation site that, again, I know Bruce and I use, and I think Randy is using. And the great thing that we've done with Wakelet now is we actually have a Wakelet page. So as the year goes on, we will update the Wakelet page. So it'll kind of be an add-on to the book, because we know technology changes constantly. So Wakelet will give us a way that you can kind of keep up to date with things that are going on. That might help you with what's in the book.
Oh, this is great. These are wonderful resources that you guys are sharing. But I want to go back to just the beginning, Paula, because I really love this part. I mean, this is actually where the part that I got here, but just the recipe guide to creating successful digital media. But again, it's just for a book for educators, providing scope and sequence digital media in the classroom. So again, teachers, educator friends, all of you guys that are out there and just feel like overwhelmed and not knowing where to start, I highly, highly recommend that you get your hands on this book. And because it is going to be something that, even though Bruce said, so as technology, comes about, it'll be obsolete. But I don't want you to think of the information that you're going to find in here obsolete, but just think of it as a building block and a foundation. If this is something that you're just going to be starting with, something that you're barely going to immerse yourself in, this would be a great way for you to go ahead and start and just build your skill set, your knowledge set, and you're going to be learning with the students at the exact same time. And I promise you, something like kind of what Bruce was saying, oftentimes we're going to be learning more from them when you give them the ability to go ahead and create. So I really love this right here on the website. And I just want to talk a little bit more about your partners. Can you, Paula, I'm not very familiar with internet radio. This is the very first time that I hear about this for school setting. Can you tell us a little bit more about Backbone and how you've used it and how Randy have used it?
Yeah, Backbone was probably the best thing that ever came into my educational life. And I think all three of us, student voice is really important to all of us. And we do a lot of podcasting, and the idea was, why don't I just have my own radio station? And that's what Backbone provides. So students literally have their own radio station without an FCC license, without, paying any kind of money out. And it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's in the cloud automation. So programming is constantly going. So I primarily use it as talk radio. I can program music, obviously, but we use it. For instance, we'll go to the football or basketball games, and I'll teach students how to do play-by-play sports. So they will learn how to do live play-by-play sports. Go to a concert. If parents maybe can't come to a concert, we can go in there and record the concert live as it's happening, and parents could listen to it. We have guest speakers in, they're on the radio. One of the big challenges, I think, for all media is to get your whole school, embraced in the whole idea. So we take the radio into a classroom because it can go anywhere with you because it's just a computer. And so that's how we get other curriculum, like buying into like, wow, I'm on the radio right now. We download it on the TuneIn app, so you could get in your car, tune in the TuneIn app on your radio in the car, and listen to your child that day on the radio. Backbone Radio, they are the hub of this cloud, basically interface. They also have talk. Telephone. So I actually have my own telephone number for our radio station. So you could actually call into my radio station and we could talk to you. They have a new component called Lucy, which would be on the telephone so students could go down onto a football game and actually get onto our station through their telephone, do the live recording, and run right through our station. It's kind of endless, but they have teamed up, as you can see here. They have a page dedicated to us on their website, and they have put together a K-12 package because people don't know where to start. They're like, what microphones do I need? What do I need to start a radio station? And they've actually provided it here for you so that they will actually get the equipment and help you put the whole thing together, which I didn't have at the beginning. That's a picture of my students actually that they have there from a while back. So that was a few years ago, I think. But, in my classroom, we did choice. Students could choose to be on the radio, the TV, the website, all kinds of things, so that they were all, being able to express themselves in multiple ways.
And I can tell you, Fonz, I don't have the radio station at my school, but I've seen this firsthand when I went out to write the book. I went out on spring break to Indiana, and Randy's students are elementary students. So you see students who are 8 and 9 years old just put on a headset and start DJing like no problem. And he had them spinning records on Friday. He has them doing all different types of shows. And you forget that these students are second, third, and fourth graders who are going live on their student radio station. And then on Alexa and other things, you could tune in on that app. And, the thing that is not overlooked with creating media, and maybe one of the coolest parts, is the SEL wellness for students is through the roof. I mean, it makes you feel good. It gives a student a voice, and they can have choice with it of pick what they would like to create. And I've seen Paula's station in action, also Randy's, and I'm actually a little bit jealous and envious that I don't have that at my school yet. I would like to have it at my school, but we're lucky enough on the website, and this is going to be a great learning curve for me. We're going to have a scripted educator radio station right on the website. I think there's a tab for it on top. And I'm really looking forward to us pushing out content, doing, live call-in shows, doing podcasts, and we have a central place to put it, on our website. And I really think this is a tool that I know this is a tool. I don't even think that I've seen students use it, and it's fantastic. You can use it for any curriculum, have them do any type of podcast or radio show. And Backbone is really a great product.
Wow, this is amazing. Like I said, this is the first time that I hear about it. And just with what you're telling me, I'm really just in awe of it because again, like you're saying, it's just the wellness, the SEL, but also just the creativity, the outlet that you're giving students to just be able to, put out like, and what I love what Paula said is like you can take this into a classroom and you can record a classroom, you can create a classroom channel, you can take it to the sports games, to concerts and things of that sort. And parents don't have to miss out on anything. But the best part too is that the students can be the ones that are all hands on deck creating this and putting this together and learning those valuable skills of collaboration and soft skills that are cross curricular and they can apply into any subject. So I think that this is something that is wonderful. The next one that I wanted to talk about is this one. I know that you had the Ideas Hub here from WeVideo, and I know Bruce and I are both WeVideo ambassadors, and WeVideo is definitely just a great tool that teachers can definitely get their hands on. So tell us a little bit more about the Ideas Hub, Bruce.
Yeah, this one is a fantastic page. If you scroll down a little bit, the Ideas Hub on the far left, you can actually go and start searching through it. So you want to pick a resource type, you want to pick your curriculum, you want to pick for green screen, your grade level. It actually will go through all of those videos to the right and let you search through them. And this is a fantastic way if you're just starting with WeVideo, you have all the exemplars right here for you.
Hey.
Or if you've used WeVideo for a while, right? Jen Lieband's on there. There's a whole bunch of great educators who are also Google Innovator educators and Google trainers, are all on there. Along with, you'll see a lot of that girl who says, like, go up to the news one that you just passed. John Klein, who's the education person for the country for WeVideo, that's his daughter. She's in a lot of the green screen ones.
Yes, I've seen her.
The same student. It's really a great database of exemplars. And if you're just starting out with WeVideo, I think it is great to see, here's some of the possibilities that I could do. And they're all right there. Even they give you, click on lesson plans. They have for remote learning and lesson plan choice boards that are done for you. And that's actually in a Google slide that someone created all of those different choices that you can pick. So it's a really rich place to go, and you just go through the education part of the WeVideo site. And I use it myself a lot for exemplars to show students. And then, once I find a person like a Jen Liebman that, is fantastic, then I'll go, find her on Twitter, find her on her website, and, there's even more that's there. So that's a great resource that WeVideo has. And also, we don't have on our site, but wevideo.com/academy. If you're just starting with WeVideo, those are all WeVideo free tutorials that show you how to do everything in WeVideo. So if you never use WeVideo, you want to try it out this year, wevideo.com/academy would be the place to go. And green screen, opacity, picture in picture, there are 2-minute tutorials that are on this page. And we're very lucky and we're very proud that Nathan Langrad, who's the education CEO for WeVideo, he's written a section in our book about how all of these tools can be used to create media. And we were so lucky and happy to have him be a part of our book, write a part of our book. And I know all three of us use WeVideo a lot. And the final point just about WeVideo and the other two companies too is their customer service is off the charts in a terrific way, that they're very accessible to get a hold of. And if you need help at any point, they're very teacher friendly and teacher centric. And I would give all three of them a shot.
Excellent. Yeah. So WeVideo definitely is a must have, or just a tool to, again, like Bruce was saying, just go ahead and get started, just to build your skill set, build your comfort level up. They've got the Academy, and of course the Idea Hub is great, where they already have resources there for you. So you don't have to go in there having to invent anything or come up with anything on your own. You can just take what's there, put your own spin on it, as long as it's tied to your curriculum, and then you can go ahead and continue there.
While you're on that page, Tufan's a place to start. Go to wevideo.com, click on education. Just go down a little bit with your cursor.
Oh, sorry.
click on the Education tab, and then scroll down a little bit. And just go up. That green button that you just went, there's Nathan Rad. Scroll up, and that green button that you went past on that page, just scroll up on that page a little bit.
Oh, right here.
There you go. Educators, try WeVideo. If you're trying WeVideo for the first time, don't sign up on your regular email and get the free light version. If you go through here, educators try WeVideo, you can click on that link. It gives you 30 days for free of the full education version. You could put your students in there. You could try it out, give them assignments. And that's the way that I would try out WeVideo. So you get the full version, because just like all other software, there is a light version that doesn't let you get to all of the tools. If you sign up through Educator, try WeVideo for free. It's the 30-day full version where you'll get to try green screen, picture-in-picture, all the things that they have, podcast, everything else.
Oh, that's perfect. And so again, teachers, wonderful, wonderful resources that you have here. And the last one, of course, last but not least, is definitely one that I just started following here as well. And you definitely have your Scripted Educators Wakelet page set up. So Paula, tell us a little bit about some of the resources that we can find here on your Wakelet page.
Okay. Wakelet I found several years ago as a curation site. And, and I think hopefully everyone understands curation, but, with so much media just at us all the time, Wakelet is this place that provides that holding place to kind of put all those ideas together. So what we've done with this page is this is really just to kind of go with the book. It doesn't replace anything that's in the book, but if you want some ideas, for instance, on green screening or radio or TV scripts or distance learning, as you're seeing right here in front of you, what we've done is we're adding to this Wakelet page for you that is really just, again, to go with the book.
And
I love Wakelet.
One of the
Sorry.
page too, Paula, that we haven't even gotten to yet, Fonz, is the book just came out August 11th. As the school year starts, once the three of us start discovering new tools that probably weren't even out, even until August 11th, we're going to start putting them into our Wakelet site as new tools. And we really talked about that's one of the ways that we want to keep the book fresh and keep it updated is on this scripted site. We're going to make a folder, for updated tools for the 2021 school year, that maybe tools that weren't even really around yet, like StreamYard would be one of them that people were just kind of discovering, in remote learning. And now we have a great place to add it from our computer. I actually like to use my phone the most, just when I'm finding resources, I can quickly flip them and put them into a folder in our Wakelet site.
Oh, no, and this is great. And so this is what I love. And so you're hearing it here, teachers, educators, and anybody who's interested in content media creation. I think that Bruce, Paula, and Randy have done such a great job at thinking out the process of the book that even with this additional Wakelet page, it's just an additional resource to that page. And I love the way Bruce said it. It's a great way to keep the book content fresh, that as you go through the content, you're building up that skill set, you're building up that confidence. Bruce, Randy, and Paula are going to be adding to this Wakelet page that ties to the book. And again, you can get familiar with some of the new stuff that is out there. And I think this is just a wonderful idea, for you, what you guys are trying to do with providing those additional resources, keeping it fresh, continuous. And it's something that so many people will benefit from. And I did share the link right now here in our comment section. So that way our viewers can go ahead and grab that link as well. And so I'm very excited. Paula, you did a phenomenal job with the website, Randy and Bruce, and all three of you, with the book itself. So I'm really excited for what is for everybody that gets their hands on this, what they're going to be able to do, what they're going to be able to accomplish, but more than anything too, on the student aspect of it, what students are going to be able to create, what they're going to be able to do, and how they're going to be able to learn. So very exciting stuff, guys. I'm really, really happy for you guys. And, again, just thank you guys, for everything that you're doing. So any big plans? I know, Bruce, you said you're going to be starting school already, this coming week. So I know probably, the podcast, circuit kind of deal might slow down a bit, but let us know, or let our audience members know, where else can they, catch you, either Bruce or all three of you, coming up. And I know you have the scheduled calendar here, which I'll go ahead and show, but, just tell us a little bit about, the rounds that you're making right now.
Sure. We're going to be on the Sweet Talk with Kim Mattina Monday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. She has a fantastic show about all Google tools, but also media creation. And there's something in the water in New Jersey because she's another person. Great. And then we also have other podcasts that are coming out that we've recorded, and we're waiting for them to release 2 or 3 other ones, that we've done. But I want to talk about one point you were saying, which is a really terrific point, about collaboration and future skills. And I think we've kind of modeled it in the book. Like, I would never want to do this book again by myself. The three of us met, the three of us work together to collaborate, and, we're all in charge of everything, but we've kind of, Paula's done the most with the website. Randy did the most with the graphics, and we were very lucky of his wife being a graphic artist that she created the cover. And the more people that I talk to say the cover is what really catches me at first, how it's designed. And I've done, a lot of the podcasting along with Paula and Randy. And it's really a great collaboration that we just go and do what needs to be done. And we don't really think of it as this is our, my piece or someone else's piece. And it's in the book, and it's right at the end. And I think it's one of the most important parts is all of this media ties perfectly into future skills of what do you need to know in 2020, 2025? What skills do you need to know if you do any job? You don't have to be on the radio or do a podcast. And they all tie in perfectly to media creation and production. And I know one that I like to talk about is creativity in this top 10 list that's done. And this is what Google Applied Skills is based off of. Creativity was number 9 in 2015. It's crept up to number 2 in 2020. And I venture to guess that it might be number 1 in 2025. It's right behind problem solving. And any of this media creation covers, all of those different skills. And that's why we think it's important that anybody can create media. You don't have to start big. You can start small and build it out. And we are on a bunch of different podcasts. We're going to try to keep the website updated for you fans and everybody else, so people can kind of follow along once we know when some of these podcasts that we've done, are going to be released.
Awesome. Well, I just want to thank you guys. You guys have, just really made my day, and you made our audience's day as well, because again, I can't speak highly enough of this wonderful resource, this book. And so everybody, again, let me go ahead and just show you the website. Again, it's scriptededucators.com. And there on the front page, you will know exactly where you can go ahead and order from. And again, they do offer bulk discounts right here through EduMatch Publishing. So go ahead and check it out. Those of you that are out there, teachers, feeling that a little bit of that anxiety, not knowing where to start, this would definitely be a great way for you to start. And again, this can take you, this can set you up for pretty much the rest of your career as far as content creation, because again, this is that strong foundation that you're going to be building. And then Bruce, Paula, and Randy are going to be keeping the resources fresh through their Wakelet page. So definitely it is an investment that you're definitely making. So it's always very important, invest in yourself, because these are tools that are going to be here and it can make your job a little bit easier. But more than anything, the student benefit of it, the creation process, all of that to me is the big winner right there. So Bruce, Paula, and I know Randy, if you're going to be watching the replay or listening to the podcast, thank you so much for doing something so great for educators all around. And I can't fail to mention it enough. It couldn't have come at a better time. So thank you guys. I appreciate you guys being here. And to all our audience members, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for making us part of your day today when we had 2 shows. You guys are troopers, so hopefully you were here today as well. And again, please check out scriptededucators.com. Get yourself a copy of that book and enjoy the rest of your afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And don't forget to stay techie, my friends.
Thank you.
Thanks, Fawn.
Paula.